Spirit flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. As I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace, and Spirit show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding.
Good evening and welcome to our Midweek Faith Lift. My name is Shannon Brun and today is February, no, today is not February. Today is September 14th. I don't know why, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. What's going on up here?
I don't know.
Wow.
Only you can answer that.
I know, right? Today is September 14th, 2022. It's Wednesday. Welcome to our Midweek Faith Lift. Of course, you guys know who this is. This is Rev Doug Werth from Unity of Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Welcome, Reverend Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Nice to be here.
So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm sure you can see the setup is a little different, and I'm sure you've heard our little introduction, which is a little different.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the introduction?
I liked it. You and I played around with it a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
And I like it. And I like the song, that's played.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice introduction.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And it gives us a chance to kind of do what we need to do in the background before the show actually starts.
Sure.
Yeah.
All 2 minutes of it.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, I want to remind our viewers that if you have any questions about today's broadcast, you can shoot us a comment in the comment section, or you can send us an email at contact@unityofchattanooga.org. Now today, what I want to do is I want to introduce you guys to my spiritual practice. It's something that I do on a regular basis. I have these tools here that I use. I have a variety of tools that I use on a daily basis to kind of put me in the mood of getting centered and connecting with God. And one of the things that I use is the Daily Word, and I'm sure you're familiar with the Daily Word.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And this is a publication from Unity Worldwide Ministries.
Right.
And then also I use this is a Course in Miracles. These are a bunch of cards that I play with. Sometimes I'll just pick a card and it'll kind of have a description of affirmation or saying, and I'll
or a concept.
Yeah. And I'll meditate on it, and then I'll kind of figure out what it means to me.
Yeah.
And this is a book that I actually bought at Unity Village. And it's called Spiritual Nuggets, and it's by a reverend named Shirley Lawson. And I'll just turn a page, like so, and I'll just put my finger on something, and I'll read it, and I'll meditate on it, and then I'll figure out what it means to me.
Yeah.
And also I have some affirmation daily word cards that I play with also. You just kind of pick through these and figure out, what it means again to me. And then I have these intention dice. These are my babies right here. I don't know why I like these. I guess it's because it's just dice and you just kind of roll them, and wherever it lands, that's what you meditate on. That's what you share on.
Nothing like rolling the dice for a spiritual practice.
Yeah. And also, this could be, all of these could be used when you have friends over. You just kind of put the cards out or roll the dice and just kind of share on where you're at, So this is kind of what I do regularly. I'll pick from one of these and I'll just kind of do my own thing and get connected to the source.
Yeah.
What do you do for your spiritual practice on a regular basis?
Well, typically when I get up in the morning, it's a quiet time for me. I'll just kind of sit on the side of the bed. The other thing too, one of the things I do every morning is take my blood pressure. All right, and the way that I do that, you put the thing on, the whatever you call it, and then the instructions for that piece of equipment is sit for 5 minutes before you hit the button.
That is so cool.
To take the actual blood pressure. Why they do that, I don't know, because if you go into a doctor's office, they put it on and click, and they'll take it right there.
away.
But this says, wait 5 minutes. So during that 5 minutes is a chance to, at least for me, just be still and think about what's coming up in the day, just reflect on things. Sometimes, you wake up with a dream that's banging around in your head, and so I'll think about that. But I use that typically that 5 minutes when I get up in the morning for kind of a quiet, reflective time. And then the same thing happens at night. Before I go to bed, I usually take a little bit of a review of the day and some of the incidents that happened, and maybe some of the things that I want to do the next day. Just kind of an organizational reflection sort of thing. But I think the biggest part of my practice, more than anything else, is I'm speaking about 3 times a month on average. Sometimes I'll go 6 in a row, sometimes 2, and however it works out. And for me, the idea of just throughout the week, and I'm doing that as we speak. I mean, not this very moment, but during this time of the week, I'll just say, okay, God, what do we talk about this Sunday? What's coming up, and ideas and will start coming, and then usually on Friday, I'll make some notes during the week if something comes up, and then on Friday I'll sit down and I'll put that together. And then on Saturday, typically I'll just reflect on that. I might, read the talk over once, and oftentimes different things will come in. But the spiritual practice for me is putting that, I think more than anything else, is putting that talk together every week. That's something that, when I was in ministerial school, they said, for every, it'll take an hour of prep for every minute, you're talking. And I have found that the relationship between the amount of time you spend versus the amount of time you talk, it takes a bit. Some people can just, and I've known ministers who can just kind of get up and go, and it looks great and everything. That has never been my experience. I usually take some time, put it together, and then deliver it on Sunday. And for me, it's not an hour to a minute. It's less than that. But still, it takes me about 12 hours to put together maybe a 25-minute talk, something like that. And prior to that, and that 12 hours is just putting it down on paper. And prior to that, you're thinking about it. You're asking the universe, okay, what's the message for today? And I think more than anything else, that just kind of, that keeps me connected all the time. Now, that's not something, that everybody would have to do or should do, because you're not presenting a talk every Sunday, okay? But the idea of of keeping your mind connected to spirit every single day, I think is the key.
Yeah.
And however you choose to do that, you know, some people.
You're lucky to be a minister I'm not going to say you're lucky to be a minister,
Right.
but the fact that you study your notes, you
Right.
go over them, you read them, you research what you're doing, and that
Right.
programs you.
Oh, sure.
And then I'm sure you find yourself, I'm sure you find a synchronicity in it throughout the day or throughout the week.
Right. Right.
You start to find a synchronicity in the message that you're delivering to the congregants.
Right.
I'm sure, I mean, does that happen where you deliver a message on something and you find yourself actually living that out throughout the week?
Sometimes, you know, sometimes, more often than not, what happens is I'll have an idea, or the idea will download, which is more often the case. In other words, I'll say, okay, you know, what's this week's message? You know, my pet phrase is, okay, God, what are we going to talk about today? And then I'll start getting little hits. And I can, in terms of synchronicity, in terms of interesting things, oftentimes I'll be there and I'll be stuck and I'll say, okay, how do these two concepts relate? And then here it comes. And sometimes it brings tears to my eyes. And then other times is, all right, well, how do we talk about this concept? And the idea of a book will come up. I'll grab the book off the shelf, open it up, and there it is, type of thing. There is an incredible amount of guidance out there for everybody. If you simply be still, do the best you possibly can to open that door and to keep your practice alive. The amount of guidance and direction and synchronicities, things that'll just come up, people that you run across, you know, concepts, ideas, situations that pop up. Yeah, it's incredible.
So it's like so would you say that your ministry keeps you connected?
Oh yeah,
Definitely keeps you connected to
Yeah.
source.
yeah. If I wasn't doing the ministry, I wouldn't have anywhere near, you know, that connection. It's kind of a forced thing. Okay.
That's why I said earlier you're kind of lucky, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause
But
I mean, there's some ministers that you know are involved in ministry. I mean, and they get a message and they don't live spiritually.
That's right.
So you know,
Yeah.
it still takes practice. Right?
And a lot of it is the intention that you have. Is your intention to stay connected with spirit? Is your intention to, when I say, okay, God, what do I talk about this Sunday? What I'm often asking is there a person out there? Is there a group out there? Is there a situation out there that needs to be addressed? You know, by spirit. And that's and oftentimes, you know, on a Sunday somebody will come up and say, man, that message was just for me, or I got a lot. And that's the whole idea behind it.
Cool,
you know.
cool. Well, I have some tools that I use for my spiritual practice, and I thought I would bring them here and ask you to pick one of the tools that I use and to share on the concept of whatever the affirmation or whatever comes up. Which one do you?
Well, the one that kind of came up for me was this.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Would you like to tell them what it said?
Yeah, this is Golden Spiritual Nuggets by Reverend Shirley Lawson. And from what I understand, from what you've told me, it's just a series of sayings. So you just open it up and read one and see what comes up.
Yeah.
The reason I chose this is I'll often do the same thing with a book. Oftentimes the Bible. You know, I'll just open it up and there's something.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the other.
It's hardcore Bible.
Well, yeah, but you know. It's, so, anyways, we'll just open this up and see what comes up. It says, "My friend, it takes courage to make right choices and discipline to follow them." Wow, that's huge. And I like the way it says, "My friend." It's almost as if, you know, God's talking to you,
Right.
You know, or Spirit is talking to you. It takes courage to make right choices.
Wow.
You know, I think, and I think back of a lot of the choices that I've made in my life. You know, and when I was a young guy,
Right choices. It takes courage to make right.
Right
No,
choice.
I'm not correcting you. I'm just
Yeah.
going.
yeah, it takes courage to make right choices.
Yeah.
And I can remember many times in my life, you know, do I do this or do I do that? And early in my life, you know, I chose the material ways. You know, all right, how do I make more money? How, and I don't mean in a nefarious way. I just mean which kind of jobs and that sort of thing. And very early in my life, I mean, even high school and college, I often was pulled in the direction of ministry, you know. But I knew a couple of ministers at the time. They didn't make any money. You know, I mean, really,
Right,
they didn't.
yeah.
They had what was called a manse. In other words, the church supplied the house, which was great. But once the church supplied the house, then they didn't have to pay the minister very much because those expenses were covered. And what would happen is once the minister got towards the end of his career, he didn't have a house.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah, 'cause he was-
then you're in your 60s or you're in your 70s and you're going to go out and pay top dollar, you know.
For a house.
They
You're
just,
not going to be around. Well, I'm not going to say you're not going to be around, but definitely you're
yeah,
older.
yeah. It's
Probably
difficult.
retirement age, and you got to pay for a mortgage now.
Yeah.
Most people have kind of at that point they maybe halfway through their mortgage or even a little bit more.
Yeah.
Their mortgage, and you're 60, you're just starting a mortgage.
So I looked at that, and you know, my early childhood, as I was growing up, we didn't have an awful lot. You know, we I won't say we were poor. Okay, both my mom and dad worked, and they had good jobs and things, but they had medical bills from my brother and some other things, and so we grew up in modest, very modest circumstances. And, you know, I had a lot of friends that had, you know, nice cars and nice houses and all those kinds of things. And if you got a nice car, you get the girls, you know,
Right.
so you could imagine. So anyways, I looked at that and I said, you know, I'm pulled in that direction, but, you know, I want the money and I went that way. And, I won't say that was a wrong decision, but I think it delayed a deeper opening. And finally, later in life, and I've told this story many times, I said, you know, do I stay in the business world or do I stay or do I, you know, go into the ministry? And I felt very called at that point. And that was a right choice. And the second, and discipline to follow them. Not only takes courage to follow the right way and to say, let's say you're in a situation where something's going down that you know that's not right. Do you step in and try to make a correction to that and let a higher truth be known? Or do you stay back because you don't want to get involved and that sort of thing? And it not only does it take courage to make a right decision, but it takes a discipline to follow it. If you're going to get involved in ministry or in a spiritual way, you better have a discipline to keep yourself centered, which is what we're talking about here, and also a discipline to stay on track. You know, is this what I want to do? If it is, then you got to live the life. You know.
Yeah.
So
Courage. When it talks about courage, and it says, well, let me just read that real quick. It says, it takes courage. This one, right?
Yeah.
It takes courage to make right choices. When I think of the word right, I think of God.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I ask God for courage. I'm not, you know, I don't, you know, I've gotten to a place in my spirituality where I don't ask for things because I believe everything is already here for us.
Right.
So it's just a matter of grabbing it. And so
Or allowing it to surface.
Or allowing it, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I do, I often kid people. They say, well, I need more patience, so I'm going to ask God for patience. Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is God is going to give you opportunities to practice patience, all right? Which means it'll probably ramp up a little bit on you. So the idea, what I typically do is if I'm looking for strength, if I'm looking for courage or patience or something like that, typically my prayer is, thank you, God, for allowing that characteristic to be strong in me and flowing through me right now, you know, or something to that. In other words, what you're doing is you're affirming that you already have
it.
that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And once you affirm that you have it, it will tend to start flowing through you.
And so asking God. So it's a matter of, you're saying it's a matter of affirming that it's there already.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. It tends to work out better that way.
And that's affirmative prayer.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So when discipline, staying on track.
Right.
How hard is that when something is difficult?
Well, I'll use another.
And that's another. I'm sure that's another affirmation. Thank you, God, for
the
strength to stay
to follow what is mine to do. Well, I'll give you another example. Many of us, I think, have wanted to lose weight or get back in physical shape or one thing or another, and so the idea is, well, I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to jog 3 times a week or I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. And what tends to happen is you do that for a little while, and then it's a rainy day, or you're tired, or you've had a fight with somebody, or one thing or another, and you don't do it. And then once you don't do it, it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. And so what a lot of people do, if they want to get into an exercise program, is they'll get a friend. Okay, and you know that the friend is going to show up on a certain time, and so when it's raining out or you don't feel right, you know your friend's going to be there, so you show up.
An accountability partner, they call them now.
Okay. And what I have found, and I often talk to congregants about this, that's why churches are important, because it's a community of people, and you know the church service is going to be there. You know that maybe you have a prayer partner that you can talk with. You know that all you really have to do is show up, okay? And all the rest of that will
and if you got a tight-knit community, if you're not there, more than likely someone's going to call you and say, is everything okay?
How you doing?
You
know, what's going on? Can I give you a ride?
That happens. I since leaving Unity Village, I started a morning 5 a.m. morning check-in with 2 people. So it's 3 of us. We read the daily word in the morning time, and sometimes, you know, when sometimes they'll catch me and I'm still asleep. They'll wake me up. You know, they'll ring the phone a couple times.
It's 5 in the morning.
5 in the morning every morning, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday it's 7 a.m.
Okay.
So
you're sleeping in. You're sleeping in.
Sleeping a little bit. But they'll call, and sometimes, like I said, I don't answer, and then they'll call back. You know, or sometimes whoever wakes up first will do the calling. Right. And sometimes I'll wake up first and I'll call, and they don't answer, and I'll keep calling, and eventually, hello, hey, what's up? Well, we got to do this, huh? And we all take turns. Every day someone reads the daily word, and then we kind of share on it. And it's a nice way to stay connected.
And I think part of the idea of the discipline to follow it is you've got a support group, you know, and that support group, somebody's going to stay disciplined.
3 people.
And you can latch on to that. You know, you can be a part of that.
And speaking of that, you know, accountability stuff, we have the Sunday service at 11 o'clock every Sunday, right, at Red Bank Community Center. And we also have that spiritual connection group that we do
on Thursday nights.
On Thursday night on Manufacturers,
right.
What is that? Manufacturers Road, right, at Whole Foods upstairs, right. And so if you're in the area, here in Chattanooga, you're welcome to come by on Thursdays.
It's a chat sort of thing. You know, whoever shows up, what's going on. You know, and sometimes there's a spiritual question. Sometimes there isn't.
There isn't. We just kind of eat Whole Foods food.
Go
shopping and go home.
Talk about whatever's going on in our life. You know. And now that
now that football season is going on, I'm sure there'll be some of those conversations.
Yeah, definitely be some of those. So and then we have the dancing with prayers every Sunday also at 10:30.
Yes. Yeah, Laura Noyes leads that.
Yeah, she
It's kind of a moving meditation, sort of thing, and it kind of first, when it was tossed out, I said, gee, I don't know about that. But once we tried it, it's great. It's just an opportunity there to go through some physical stuff and go through it together.
Yeah, I think it kind of opens us up for the service. Because we kind of like, we move around a little bit, we laugh a little bit while we're doing it, and then...
Well, it's a group interaction, too, and it's physical,
Yeah.
so everybody's involved with it. Kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, Doug, I want to thank you for coming out today again.
Oh, that's all right.
And
Appreciate it.
joining me.
Yeah.
And again, if you guys have any questions about anything that we shared, leave a comment in the comment section. Also, you can send an email to us at contact@unityofchattanooga.org. I'm going to put that up right now.
The other thing too is if any of you watching this podcast have a topic that you'd like me to address on Sunday, sometimes I'll follow a book. Sometimes it's whatever comes up, for me. But it doesn't necessarily have to all come through me. So if you have a certain question, a spiritual question, or some area that you'd like to have discussed, drop us a note.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to talk about it on Sunday.
Yeah, Doug is really good for being quick about things. I like that about him. And we got that email address up at the bottom of the screen, contact@unityofchattanooga.org. And we're doing a lot of things in the community also. We have, in a couple of weeks, we've been working really hard to get this some of this stuff done.
I tell you, for a small group, we are very, very involved in the community. I mean, Mona's got the homeless thing going.
Yeah.
And you can see that that's a calling, for her. And then we've got Pride Week coming up, and
you're helping out with that. Yeah, it's not a calling for me. Don't say that. But definitely, it's good to organize and get in the community. Let those people know, hey, you have a home if you want to join us.
And I think that the key thing from my perspective, I want to be involved with a group that's known as a unity church. And unity means everybody. It means it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or Hispanic or Muslim or Buddhist or gay or straight. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's the idea that there are spiritual laws and guidance available to you to help you on your journey. All right. And whoever wants to be involved with something like that, then those are the people that we're about. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So, and I think with the table that we're going to have after the parade, the Pride Parade, we're going to have some literature out there, and whatever perspective you happen to be coming from as you're watching this podcast, I think we'll all realize that the gay and lesbian community has often been marginalized and rejected from mainline churches. And so the idea here is for us to offer some literature and have some people at the booth and just say, this is what we believe, this is the path that we're about. Here's some literature that might help you on your path, okay? If you want to come to our church, great. If you want to take the literature and do your own thing, that's fine too. It's here to offer a perspective and an opportunity, for people to. It's not about trying to gain new members as much as it is to help and guide.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, and I mean, if in order to support our outreach efforts, we have T-shirts.
Oh yeah.
And so if you're interested in purchasing the T-shirts, send us an email at contact@unityofchattanooga.org. I think they're what, $20?
Yeah.
Yes, $20, and we'll those proceeds go to the Pride festival that the proceeds go to helping fund that.
Right.
And also
because
the homeless.
We have costs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And also for the homeless outreach that we're doing in the community. But again, I want to thank you for coming by.
Okay, good.
And I want to thank the viewers. Again, if you have any questions, send us an email and we'll look forward to seeing you next week
Or Sunday.
or Sunday.
Okay, thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.